So, the trailer for the Minecraft movie released, and it's definitely interesting.
What the hell?
People have definitely made it clear how they feel about this. One of those dislikes may or may not be me. And honestly, we have another Sonic movie situation on our hands here. Just look at this thing. It's as bad as the original Sonic design. What if they've deliberately made it look bad though, so they can deliberately pull a Sonic movie, so that they can later on fix it according to fan feedback and then make it look much better, and then have the good publicity surrounding it because they listen to the fans, and then it'll be as popular as a Sonic movie because the Sonic movie got really popular after fixing the Sonic design. Anyways, I'm gonna fix it. Let's face it, no pun intended, the face is the worst part of this sheep. And so the first thing for me to do was to go into Photoshop and basically remove the face so I had room to paint over it. So using my somewhat lackluster Photoshop skills, and struggling because I was trying to use my tablet, which isn't actually set up for Photoshop, so it was going all over the place. And then resigning to the fact that I had to use my mouse, I clone stamped the hell out of this sheep's face. Didn't have to be perfect, most of it was going to be covered up. Just wanted to make sure I had a blank canvas to work on. It's actually even more terrifying with no face somehow. Back to Paint Tool Sai, and first thing I did was sketch out what I wanted the face to look like. I think the main problem is that they tried to keep the blocky style but also made it really hyper realistic, and it just looks so uncanny as a result. So I wanted to keep it blocky and realistic but not hyper realistic. I wanted it to still have that charm that Minecraft has. And if you take away the face and look at the rest of the sheep, it's this big pink fluffy thing. It's actually quite cute, and so the face needs to match the rest of it, and that's a massive problem with the original, that the face just doesn't match the cuteness of the body. So I definitely wanted to go sort of bigger, more cutesy eyes. I know the original sheep has sort of slit eyes, but that's more a sort of limitation with the Minecraft textures and how it's all just pixels. I think in this style that the movie's gone for, bigger eyes are going to be better. So that's what I went for. Another thing is just making the mouth look a bit nicer. You've got this blocky aesthetic, and then you've got the mouth, which is just like a real life sheep's mouth. It's really weird. The tongue is like real, the teeth are real. It just really doesn't fit. It looks really, really horrible and weird, honestly. So I made the teeth more blocky, and I made the tongue a bit more blocky as well, just to fit the aesthetic. At first, I started blocking out each area, like the eyes, the pupils, the muzzle, but I realised it wasn't really going to work very well doing it this way, so I deleted that and went in just doing raw painting. Hey, Editing Drago here. Just pausing the video quickly to say that I just noticed that I've hit 30,000 subscribers. This is absolutely insane. I never thought I'd get this far, and I am so grateful and thankful to all of you. Seriously, thank you so, so much. And to give back to the community and celebrate, I'm going to be doing a giveaway on my Discord server. It'll be for a full digital drawing of your character, whatever character you want, be it your own original character or a pre-existing character from another franchise. So if you want a chance to get some arts from me, hop onto my Discord server and you can join the giveaway. And once again, thank you all so, so much for 30,000 subscribers. I really, really appreciate it. It's mind-blowing to me. And yeah, just thank you so much. Painting like this isn't usually a style I go for. It's not what I usually do. Very out of my comfort zone, but I must say it was quite fun. Before I even started painting though, I wanted to change the colour of the sheep's face. The really sort of pale grey they've gone for just makes it look anemic. It doesn't work very well. So I wanted to give it a bit more saturation and colour to its face. I made it a bit more of a sort of beigey brown. I don't know what you'd call that, but you know what I mean. It's just more saturation. And then I decided to focus on one eye so I could get the style down that I wanted. I used a mixture of my watercolour brush, which is a lot softer and is able to blend a lot more, and my normal paintbrush, which is good for laying down bigger areas of colour, which is more saturated. I tried to be quite loose with what I was doing, especially because we had a lot of fur texture here, so being loose just kept it looking a lot more organic. And even though I added a little bit of pink to the eyes, I decided to not add too much because it just makes it look bloodshot, and I think that's another problem with the original one. The eyes just look like they're sore and bloodshot and bulbous almost. I obviously didn't want to have that here. Another change I actually made, you would have noticed that I sort of moved the brow up a bit. I made it so it sort of had those eyebrows that can move, where they're not actually proper eyebrows, but they're brows that you can see that move. So you can see it's sort of got its brow, you know, up a bit as it bars, I guess you would say, for sheep. And that just adds a lot more character to the face, a lot more personality. The pupils, I added shades of blue in there to just show where the light is reflecting off of it. And for the eyes as a whole, I added some shine layers just to show some 3D-ness to it, because even though I don't want them to look really bulbous, they are still sort of 3D eyeballs. So just wanted to get the idea of that curve that they'll have to them. And I was going to give it the sort of usual dotted white shine, but then I thought it doesn't look quite right. So I tried to actually make them rectangles instead, and that fit way better. That fits the Minecraft style better to have them blocky than to have circles, so yeah. onto the muzzle, I just started by blocking out the rough areas. And the nostrils are going to be a big part of it. And I think another problem with the original one is the sort of pink areas they put in. I know that's more realistic, but again, it just adds to the weirdness. And I know that the sheep on the original Minecraft in-game design has a pink mouth. But in fairness, if you give it a black mouth, it probably look really weird. So I'd say that's more stylistic choice. And yeah, staying faithful to the original designs is good in some ways. But sometimes the style that you've chosen means that those original designs just aren't going to work. And in this case, to have pink around the mouth just makes it look weird. I can't really put my finger to why it looks weird, but it does. It just doesn't fit the style. It's too realistic for the blockiness. So rather than adding pink around the mouth and the nostrils, I used shades of red and darker sort of maroony brown and just shaded in some nostrils that way, trying to keep them a bit more on the blocky side. I also shaded it in a way that you can see the nostrils are sort of poking out a bit, almost like they're flared while it makes this barring sound. Just adding a bit more depth rather than just having this flat cube of a muzzle, you know. I did have to paint in a little bit of the pink fluff. The way I had the muzzle, I didn't want it to have just a completely square silhouette shape to it, you know? I wanted it to have that slightly more realistic curve inwards as the mouth is open. And I especially didn't want it to be sort of slanted at an angle like the original. I know that's probably, you know, quite realistic to what sheep do, but again, it just doesn't fit the style, and that is, I keep saying that, but that is the biggest problem with this design. The choices they made in terms of the realism doesn't fit the style of the blockiness of Minecraft. They should have either gone completely blocky and cartoony and animated that way, or 100% realistic with actual sheep. Like, the way they've done it here, it just doesn't work very well. Honestly, I'm in the gang of people that think the movie should have been 100% animated. I think it would have looked so much better if it was a fully animated film. Even if it's this style, fully animated. I just don't think the real life humans in the world fit very well. It just looks so weird and out of place, and I really do think that a fully animated movie would have been way better here. I mean, look at the Mario movie. I mean, that thing was so good. Why couldn't they have done something like that, you know? In shading the mouth, I was careful not to make it look really super realistic, because it would just look terrifying, honestly. I think that is a big problem with the original. When you look at its mouth and you look at those teeth and the realistic tongue, it's actually quite scary. Sort of thing you'd probably find in a horror film, honestly. It just creeps me out. And so I wanted to make them a lot more blocky and uniform, and just make them not as crooked and grey looking and rotten looking, you know. Just give it a much softer vibe to it. A few finishing touches was just some little bits of fur here and there that needs to be added, and then he was all done. And here it is, my remake of the Minecraft movie sheep design. Basically just changing the face, because that's the main problem. With me being someone that doesn't really paint very often, doesn't do realistic style, doesn't do a lineless style very often, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. And I think this is a massive improvement on the original. Comment down below if you think this is better than the original one. And let me know, will you be watching the Minecraft movie? So, a big problem with the movie, that being the sheep, is now fixed. Does that save the entire movie? No, not at all. This movie is fucked.